stretching over mountains, deserts, and grasslands, snaking across northern China like a giant stone dragon. The Great Wall of China is one of the most famous structures in human history. But here's the twist. It wasn't built all at once. It wasn't built by just one emperor, and it didn't always work. This is the story of fear, ambition, invasion, sacrifice, and the 2,000-year effort to build the longest defensive system the world has ever seen. Long before China was unified, the land was divided into rival kingdoms during a period called the Warring States era, 475 to 221 BCE. These states were constantly fighting each other, but they also had a shared problem. Nomadic horse-riding warriors from the north. These groups, including early ancestors of the Xiongnu, were fast, mobile, and deadly. They could raid villages and disappear before armies could respond. So what did the Chinese states do? They built walls. Not one long wall, but many separate walls made of packed earth, wood, and stone. These early walls were more like regional border defenses than a single unified structure. Think of them as the first rough drafts of what would later become the Great Wall. In 221 BCE, one king changed everything. Qin Shi Huang conquered all rival states and became the first emperor of China. For the first time, China was unified under one ruler, but unification brought a new problem. Now all of northern China was one giant target. The emperor ordered something massive. He commanded the existing northern walls to be connected and expanded into one continuous defensive line. This was the first version of a Great Wall. How was it built? Not by volunteers. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers, prisoners, forced laborers were sent north to work in brutal conditions. Many died from exhaustion, hunger, and harsh weather. Ancient stories say the dead were buried inside the wall. That's likely exaggerated, but the suffering was very real. This wall was mostly made of rammed earth, layers of soil compacted into hard, solid barriers. It worked. Somewhat. But after the Qin dynasty fell, much of this early wall crumbled away. The Han dynasty 206 BC 220 CE didn't just defend China. It expanded it. Their biggest northern enemy, the Xiongnu Confederation, powerful nomadic warriors who dominated the steppes. The Han emperors didn't just rebuild walls, they extended them far into the west, creating fortified corridors that protected trade routes. This helped secure what would become the legendary Silk Road. The wall during the Han period served two major purposes: military defense, watchtowers, signal fires, and garrisons helped warn of incoming attacks, and border control, regulating trade and migration in and out of China. If enemies were spotted, soldiers lit beacon fires on towers. Smoke by day, fire by night. A warning could travel hundreds of miles in hours. For ancient warfare, it was revolutionary. Still, the wall wasn't perfect. Nomads often found ways around or through it. Diplomacy, bribes, and marriages were just as important as bricks and stone. After the Han dynasty collapsed, China entered long periods of division. Some dynasties repaired parts of the wall. Others ignored it completely. Why? Because not all rulers feared the northern nomads. In fact, some of China's later dynasties, like the Northern Wei and the Liao, were founded by people of nomadic origin themselves. To them, the wall wasn't protection. It was a reminder of old enemies and old divisions. So, for centuries, much of the wall fell into ruin, until a disaster changed everything. In the 1200s, a storm came from the north. His name was Genghis Khan. The Mongols, masters of horseback warfare, swept across Asia with terrifying speed. Walls meant little to them. They went around them, bribed guards, or smashed through weak points. In 1271, the Mongols conquered China and founded the Yuan dynasty. For nearly a century, China was ruled by the very people the wall had once tried to keep out. Ironically, the Mongols had little interest in maintaining the wall. It wasn't built to stop them. They were already inside. After the Mongols were overthrown in 1368, the Ming dynasty took power, and they were determined that foreign rule would never happen again. They rebuilt the wall on a scale never seen before. This is the Great Wall we see today. What made the Ming Wall different? Instead of rammed earth, teeming, you said bricks, cut stone, and lime mortar, it became taller, thicker, and stronger. They built over 25,000 watchtowers, fortresses and barracks, and passes that functioned like military cities.